name is Roy Pagan. I'm with Classic Graphics in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm the wide format manager for the wide format division at Classic Graphics. Classic started in 1983 with the small offset presses. About 18 years later, we grew to about 240 plus employees. We service people for anything from offset printing to wide format, small format digital, fulfillment, and mailing. We found that we needed this piece of equipment basically because the throughput that we were producing off of our 5-meter digital press was so great that we couldn't cut it fast enough. So this machine basically enabled us to cut about a 328-foot roll in under 15 minutes, which was about less than half the time it would take on other traditional ways. We were made aware of Fotoba and Colex because we had a HP turbojet prior to the machine that we have now, which is a Durst 5-meter. And so we had some great success with that Fotoba table that we had for the turbojet, and so this was just a natural transition to move with Fotoba for this new piece of equipment. I had met with Fotoba and the Colex folks at the show last year of 2011 at the graphics show, and they had demonstrated a very small format table that did what this table does now. And so what I basically spoke to them about was taking this small format but just making it about 4 times the size so that we could produce the cutting capabilities at the speeds that we needed to. The expectations for the equipment are not much different than the expectations we had for the last piece of equipment. Was virtually never down, ran pretty much 24 hours a day, and this piece of equipment seems to be doing the exact same thing. I would think that this piece of equipment is really going to be for the large volume wide format customer, people that are going to be producing things in the 500, 1,000 piece quantity and up. Anything smaller than that, they could certainly produce a smaller format machine for them to do the same thing, and they wouldn't necessarily need the larger version of this. The staff was trained by Colex. We had 2 representatives come down and spend about 2 days with our folks and trained them on the machine. The training on this machine was very similar to the training that we would have had on the older machine that attached to the turbojet. There was just some slight differences, but it was basically a 2-day training. The machine was designed specifically for our needs. It was for basically long run work, like I said, about 500, 1,000 pieces and above, not really designed for small quantity, but for long runs as well as long pieces, so you can cut up to 12 feet on this machine as well, in length. The savings in this piece of equipment is really going to be it enables you to basically have it almost operator free. You have one person to set it up, which takes about 5 to 10 minutes, and once that setup is done, it's basically labor free. When the job is complete, the job is complete. In terms of overall cost savings, it basically eliminates a full employee standing by that cutter all day in a traditional sense, feeding and cutting one piece at a time. This equipment on a typical run could be anywhere from 15 to 18 hours a day that it would be running nonstop. So the idea behind having 2 transfer wagons as opposed to 1 was to have the ability to have 1 transfer wagon, have the media come off, and because the rolls are because the rolls are cutting so quickly, you would transfer all your media to that transfer table, take that transfer table, bring it to your finishing table, and then your finishing table would have another empty tray, and then you would roll that tray into the side-by-side for the Fotoba. The printer is 16 feet wide, but the cutter is way faster than the printer. There really isn't any printer that's going to be as fast as that cutter. So you're certainly going to have you're not going to really have a backlog of material to cut Colex has been great to work with. We've been partnered with them since about 2008 when we purchased the turbojet, and went on this venture with them a little over a year ago, beginning of 2011, and helped kind of develop this tray system that was very similar to the turbojet delivery system, but just basically reversed. And it's been a huge asset to our production.